Hello, family, friends, and strangers on the internet. I have got to tell you about how teaching is going. I'm in my third or fourth month of teaching in my first year of doing Montessori preschool teaching. So that means right now I could have everywhere from age 2.5 to age 6. Right now, my class ranges from just under 3 to just turned 5. I have 15 kids and I have an amazing assistant. I feel like I'm a good teacher, but she really makes the class great. And I've got to tell you, I've watched classes where I thought like the assistant is really the one that makes or breaks your class. So I'm like very fortunate. Well, I have to tell you, at first it was very difficult, and what I've noticed is that anytime you first start working with children, it takes a while. You have to get to know them to feel confident and comfortable and get a routine. Because the first couple weeks I was there, even on the good days, I would come home and just cry because it was so stressful. But then after a while, you know the children and you can trust them to do some things by themselves, and it's really great. So it's getting a lot more comfortable for me and my assistant now. Even on the really stressful days, we're like, tomorrow will be different. So thank goodness, because at one point it was so stressful that I said a prayer and I said, God, fix this. I won't take any credit. So the stories I'm about to tell you have that disclaimer. I can't take any credit. When things go well, I look and I think I'm just doing exactly what they taught me in my Montessori teacher training. And the brilliant genius that is Montessori figured all this out 100 years ago. One of the first things that was a big turning point, I think, in the teaching was the day that I realized that I was not a peaceful person at school. I was talking a lot, I was loud, I would, get angry or yell and things like this. And I just decided, you know what, on Monday I'm going to go in and I'm going to be the epitome of peace, and just not speak very much. You would not believe the transformation of the class just from me and my assistant deciding to be so peaceful. And other people in the school would walk by and they would comment on it, on how peaceful our class was. It was amazing. It was really wonderful. So, and that was super encouraging for us as teachers also to see that. Even though there have been rough weeks since then, we know that that's possible. What to do when there's an argument, when the kids fight. And somebody suggested, okay, when somebody hurts another person, just give a lot of comfort to the child who was hurt and just ignore the other, as long as it wasn't like really serious injury. And they'll see that the other person is hurt and they'll feel bad, or they're not getting the attention, so they won't want to do it again. Well, so we tried that, and then the other thing that we do now is when somebody is hurt, instead of doing much addressing of like, hey, we don't hit, this is what we do when we're angry, we now say, let's go see if, Joe is okay. Like, go ask if he's okay, and then ask if he wants a hug, and the children know that it's okay to say no to a hug, because that's one thing that we do in our class, that we were taught in training, is that the child should be able to have control over who they give affection to. Like, a lot of times I know we'll say, oh, there's so-and-so, go hug them. And it's like somebody they've met like 2 seconds ago, and we're like, give them a big hug. And, we're asking them to be maybe inauthentic and to just trust people that they've just met. And then we want them not to talk to strangers. And it's like maybe they don't want to hug somebody. They don't want somebody to come that close to them. And we like insist that they do. So in our classroom, we practice always asking before we have a hug or a kiss, and we really encourage them it's okay to say no. So sometimes the kids will ask the other child, do you want a hug? And they'll say no. And so then we say, okay, well, now we know they're okay and they can go on. It's been really cool to see this and see that the kids are having more compassion for each other, and they're not dependent on us for resolving the situation, for finding comfort. Like, they can do that together and console each other and see if they're okay. Now, this is not what I was trained to do in Montessori. This is one of those things that's a little different. So if I'm way off, don't blame Montessori, but this is what's working well in our classroom. It's been so cool to see new reactions, how they go around hugging each other. Yesterday I had a kid run over to me, and he's not a tiny kid, he's sturdy, and he comes running to me crying, Miss Angie, she hurt me, she hit me. And so I look over, and it's this little tiny girl who once in a while, gets a little aggressive. And so I said, are you needing a hug? Are you okay? Do you need a hug? And he said, Yes. And so I said, well, why don't you go tell her? So he runs to where she is, and evidently she's in the bathroom because my assistant, I hear her say to him, why don't you wait till she comes out of the bathroom? Well, so I go back to whoever I'm helping at the table, and about 30 seconds later, I hear this yelling, and I look up, and he and the girl are at the bathroom door, and he's pulling her close to him, and she's pushing away and going, no, and he's going, I need a hug, like, and he's just like desperate, like, for this hug. It was hilarious. I mean, obviously, like, timing was bad because she ended up having a little accident, but it was pretty endearing. Oh, it was just funny. And it's been so cool to see the kids start helping each other. Today, after we came in from recess, we were getting ready for nap, and my assistant had to step out for a minute, so it was me with 12 kids, and they were a little crazy because we haven't been able to go outside very much lately, and it's been really cold, and just a lot of random, unusual things, new kids and things like that. So the day's been a little off. They're hectic. I'm trying to put out fires right and left, and every time I hear my name, I turn around and someone else is handling it. So somebody says, one of the little girls is like, I need XYZ, and I turn to help her, and one of the 4-year-olds is bending down helping this little one with whatever she needs. Then I hear my name over here, and this brand new kid is saying, I need my shoes off. And before I can even take a step in that direction, one of the older kids is bent down next to him, untying his shoes for him and pulling him off his feet. And I walked away and came back a minute later, and this older child has now covered this new boy up and is patting his back and, comforting him while he lays down. And I just thought, wow, this is so amazing. Like, it's amazing what these kids can do. They can just do so much more than we think. And all the time I look at these kids and I think, wow, this little person is 3 years old. The one that was tucking the other child in is 3 years old, okay? And I didn't ask him to do it. No one asked him to do it. He just is, he knows that he's allowed to do things on his own and to help his friends, and he just does it. Today, I actually had a 3 and a 4-year-old alert me to the fact that one of our other kids had a fever. A 3 and a 4-year-old came and told me this. I was sitting at lunch, and one of the kids was upset, so I invited him to sit down on our reading couch, and one of the other little girls that was about 4 came over and was comforting him, and she had him on her lap and was reading him a book and just helping him get settled back down. And this little tiny girl who just turned 3 runs over. She says, Miss Angie, and she starts saying things. At first I can't understand her, and then I understand she's saying, he's hot, come feel his head. And so I come over and I put my hand on his head, and he doesn't feel that warm to me, but I go get the thermometer and I put it under his arm, and sure enough, he was running about a degree temperature. And I just thought, wow, that was incredible that they were tuned in to what was going on with this child, They just blow my mind. They're so amazing. And I just think, I think I have the best kids, but I'm sure anyone who's a teacher feels that way too. And sometimes it's really stressful, but they're so great too. And it's getting to the point where, when we have new kids, especially the little tiny ones, they're always frustrating at first because they can't understand the rules. They don't wait to take things off the shelves. But, it's getting to the point where now that I've seen several new ones come in, like, at first they can be running around just, like, hitting everyone. Like, they're sticking their tongue out all the time or spitting on people or just tearing things or whatever. And you know what? Those are the kids that came in a few months ago. And today they're, like, volunteering to help, and I was squatting down next to a table looking at something, and the kid jumped up and ran away. I said, where are you going? He runs over, grabs a chair, and carries it back and sets it down for me. That's what he was doing. I'm just like, no way. This is the kid that maybe 4 weeks ago was driving us crazy. So now when the new kids come in, I'm like, yeah, this is really annoying today, but in 3 weeks, he's gonna be doing, it's gonna be so cool. So no longer do we have to be worried that they're going to be an ongoing stressor or anything like that. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful or at least entertaining. I'd love to hear any stories that you guys have. I'm happy to answer any questions about Montessori or about our school. Have a great holiday season.